I'm just waiting for that timer, and there it is. There's a timer. Very good. All right, so we're at part 11. Again, I'm Logan Saunders, the TARstorian. You should know this by now. This is my cast assessment for season 35. Note the quotations. We're doing this in 13 parts, 13 different videos in case I really screw up what I wanted to say. We started with the team who I thought we shit the bed the most in 13th place, which was ANDREA and MALAINA. And then we've worked all the way up to part 11 with the team who I think will cross the finish line, but necessarily not in first place. And that would be Alexandra and Sheridan. We jumped to Joe and Ian, who only combined for having 6 letters between their 2 first names, to Alexandra and Sheridan, where both of them have a longer first name than Joe and Ian's first names combined. So at least Alexandra and Sheridan have given us something more to work with. Plus, they have the last name Lichtor, which is not just there's just so much comedy in that last name. For instance, I have started the hashtag Lichtors for the Victors, or Lichtors as the Victors for this season. They're right in that prime age of doing really well in the Amazing Race. They are 34 and 29 years old. Only 5 years between them. Between my siblings, it's a range of 6 to 10 years. I'm the baby of the family, and then everyone else is up to 10 years older than me. How fun. 11 years older than me. Yeah, my sister is the oldest. She's 11 years older than me. Yeah, now you learned personal information about myself. Alexandra, as I've said elsewhere in other people's recap podcasts, or rather their cast assessments, Alexandra looks so much like Sarah off of Terrence and Sarah from season 13. Maybe she changed her name because this season wasn't using any returning players, and she was just hoping to get past production, with production not realizing, oh, wait, we already cast her in season 13. This is clearly Sarah. Nope. She changed her first name and also presumably her last name, and found a different partner to race with. Racing with Sheridan is probably a very different experience from racing with Terrence. Terrence was quite the character, an awesome character, but an interesting character nonetheless. Once upon a time in Amazing Race history, we had a long stretch of sibling teams being really dominant. Of course, we had seasons 13, 14. Everyone thought Megan and Shane were siblings, but they were actually a couple in 15. And then season 16 also had a sibling winning team. In fact, the top 2 teams were sibling teams. And then in season 18, we also had a sibling team win that season. So during the middle seasons of Amazing Race, sibling teams were very, very, very dominant and have some of the highest amount of leg wins in Amazing Race history. And Alexandra and Sheridan just give off those vibes. And based on the limited number of romantic couples cast for this season and the number of family-based couples, I think production is, because in Amazing Race Canada, when they wanted an all-female team to win season 4, or to have an all-female team win in the franchise, for season 4, they had 5 out of 10 teams be all-female teams, and they cast 2 all-male teams who had no chance of winning. Here we have a lot of family-based teams, and they're really making flawed romantic couple teams, especially co-ed couples. And here with Alexandra and Sheridan, you just get the feeling that this might be the sibling team that they want to win this season. Again, production doesn't rig it in any team's favor. They always plan the route and everything beforehand, but they control who gets cast. They have a pretty good idea of who's going to do well and who's going to do poorly. You know that when you cast Peggy and Claire, the gutsy grannies, they're not going to win this season. They have a good idea of who the contenders are going to be. It's much like Survivor, where yes, they cast 18 people, but do all 18 people have a chance of winning every season? No, realistically, they know there's about 7 or 8 people who stand a good chance, sometimes 9 or 10, but realistically, less than half the cast, has a chance of getting first place. And I feel like that's the case here with Alexandra and Sheridan. I don't even bother writing their jobs. They just seem like they're a well-rounded team. So it'd be interesting to see if they end up being a weaker sibling team like Justin and Jennifer, for instance, from season 19, or if they are going to be one of those top-tier teams that we saw in the middle seasons of Amazing Race history. Time will tell. Time will tell. Also, spoilers tell if you look up spoilers, too. And that's it. We've got 2 more teams to get through, and oh, shit. It just premiered on the East Coast. Everything I say now is null and void. Maybe if I get it before Phil says go, these cast assessments will seem authentic. I just have 2 to go. Let me quickly do that.